The first contact protocols of the Galactic Confederation were designed around a simple premise. Every species that achieved faster-than-light travel had overcome their primitive nature and proven themselves worthy of galactic citizenship. The protocols worked perfectly for 847 species across 12,000 years of galactic civilization. Then humanity arrived and everything changed. When the Terran vessel Endurance limped into the Kepler station's docking bay on what humans called July 15, 2341, it looked more like a primitive cargo hauler than a starship capable of interstellar travel. The hull showed signs of makeshift repairs, jury-rigged components, and what appeared to be duct tape, an adhesive bonding material that would become infamous throughout the galaxy. The ship's captain, Sarah Chen, requested sanctuary and medical aid for her crew of 43 humans, all suffering from various degrees of radiation exposure and malnutrition. The station commander, Admiral Thexnal of the Hegemony Prime, initially believed the humans were refugees from some catastrophic event. Their ship registered no advanced shielding, no quantum processors, no gravity manipulation systems, none of the standard technologies that defined a spacefaring civilization. When Captain Chen explained that this was humanity's first successful faster-than-light journey, accomplished through what they called an Alcubierre drive, the entire station fell silent. "Impossible," declared Senior Science Officer Cathara, her crystalline exoskeleton flickering with disbelief. "No species achieves FTL without mastering quantum field manipulation, temporal mechanics, and dimensional folding. Your Alcubierre drive is theoretical mathematics at best." Captain Chen smiled, a facial expression that would later be studied extensively by xenopsychologists. "We're good at making impossible things work," she said. "It's kind of our specialty." The humans were granted temporary asylum while the Confederation Council debated their status. During the 3-month deliberation period, humanity became the subject of intense scrutiny and inevitably mockery throughout the galactic community. The tape monkeys, as they were dubbed by the Draconian Empire, had somehow stumbled into interstellar space without understanding the fundamental principles that made it possible. Holographic comedians across the galaxy incorporated human jokes into their routines. The Zentorian entertainment networks produced satirical programs showing humans attempting to repair advanced alien technology with primitive tools. The ethereal consciousness of Andromeda published philosophical treatises on how humanity represented the universe's cruel joke: intelligence without wisdom, ambition without understanding. The mockery reached its peak during the infamous Great Demonstration at the Galactic Science Symposium on Nexus Prime. Dr. Veltar Quinox, the galaxy's most celebrated physicist, invited Captain Chen to observe a proper, faster-than-light demonstration using a hegemony dreadnought, equipped with the latest dimensional fold drive. "Observe, Primitive One," Dr. Cybernesk, Quinox announced before an audience of thousands, "how a truly advanced civilization moves between the stars." The massive vessel, 3 kilometers long and bristling with technology humanity could barely comprehend, activated its drive systems. Space folded around it like origami, and the ship vanished, reappearing instantly at a distance of 50 light-years. The audience applauded. Quinox turned to Captain Chen with what passed for smugness among his species. "Your crude warping of space-time is an infantile understanding of cosmic mechanics. We fold reality itself. We have transcended your linear thinking." Captain Chen studied the readings on her primitive tablet, a device that had drawn snickers throughout the presentation. "Impressive," she acknowledged. "How much energy did that require?" "The equivalent of a small star's output for 1 standard hour," Dr. Quinox replied proudly. "And if the dimensional fold fails?" "Impossible. Our technology is perfected over millennia." "But if it did?" Dr. Quinox's bioluminescent patches flickered with irritation. "The ship would be scattered across 17 dimensions simultaneously. Total annihilation." "But as I said, impossible." Captain Chen nodded thoughtfully. "Our drive uses about as much energy as a nuclear power plant. If it fails, we get stranded and have to try again." Different philosophies, I guess. The audience erupted in laughter at humanity's primitive approach to stellar engineering. Little did they know they were witnessing the first hint of what would later be called the human doctrine, the principle that simple, robust solutions often outperform complex, elegant ones when the universe decides to test your assumptions. 3 weeks later, Dr. Quinox's demonstration vessel suffered a catastrophic dimensional fold collapse during a routine patrol mission. The ship and its crew of 3,000 were scattered across 17 dimensions simultaneously, just as the good doctor had predicted. The official investigation concluded that a microscopic quantum fluctuation, the kind that occurs trillions of times per second throughout the universe, had destabilized the fold matrix. Captain Chen attended the memorial service. She said nothing, but observers noted she carried a small roll of duct tape throughout the ceremony. The Confederation Council finally granted humanity provisional observer status, a diplomatic euphemism for barely civilized enough to not shoot on sight. They were permitted to establish a small embassy on the neutral world of Haven's Rest, and allowed to send a single representative to attend council meetings without voting privileges. The human ambassador, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, arrived 6 months later aboard another cobbled-together vessel that looked like it had been assembled in someone's garage. At her first council session, she requested permission to address the assembly about humanity's unique perspective on galactic civilization. Chancellor Mortif of the Infinite Dynasty, a being whose species had ruled stellar empires before humans had discovered fire, granted the request with barely concealed amusement. Please, Primitive One, enlighten us with your species' profound insights. Dr. Rodriguez stood before the assembly of the galaxy's greatest civilizations, beings of pure energy, crystalline hive minds, and creatures that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Thank you, Chancellor. I'd like to share a story from our homeworld about a race between a tortoise and a hare. The translation system struggled with the concept of animal allegory, but eventually the meaning came through. A slow, steady creature had defeated a fast, overconfident one through persistence and determination rather than natural advantages. "This is your great wisdom?" scoffed the hegemony representative. "Childhood fairy tales!" "Stories teach us things," Dr. Rodriguez replied. "This one taught us that being underestimated can be an advantage. You see our ships held together with tape and think we're primitive. But every piece of tape represents a problem we solved, a failure we learned from, a system we made work despite the odds. Your ships are marvels of engineering, until they break. Then they're expensive debris." The assembly buzzed with what various species expressed as derision, amusement, or confusion. The ethereal consciousness representative pulsed with what translated as condescension. "You mistake crude improvisation for wisdom. When your species achieves true understanding, you will abandon such primitive methods." Dr. Rodriguez smiled that mysterious human expression. "We'll see." For the next 5 years, humanity remained the galaxy's favorite joke. Human ships were ridiculed at every spaceport, their crews treated as amusing curiosities, their technology dismissed as clever tinkering by beings who hadn't evolved beyond the use of physical tools. The great civilizations continued their eternal dance of politics, trade, and subtle warfare, secure in their technological and cultural superiority. Then came the Devourers. The first reports arrived on what humans called September 12, 2346. The research station at Polaris 7 had detected massive gravitational anomalies at the galactic rim, space-time distortions unlike anything in the scientific literature. Before the station could complete its analysis, it went silent. Within 48 hours, 6 more monitoring stations had vanished. The Confederation dispatched the dreadnought Eternal Glory to investigate. The ship's final transmission was a single, terror-filled word repeated across all frequencies. Impossible. 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 The enemy that emerged from the void between galaxies defied every principle of known science. They called themselves the Devourers, machine intelligences of incomprehensible age that consumed entire star systems to fuel their expansion. Their ships were constructed from dark matter and powered by contained black holes. They could manipulate time, phase in and out of normal space-time, and their weapons operated on principles that made no sense to any known physics. The first battle of the war occurred at Rigel Station, a massive orbital facility that served as the Confederation's primary military shipyard. A Devourer fleet of 12 vessels engaged the station's defenses, 200 of the galaxy's most advanced warships supported by orbital weapon platforms that could crack planets. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, Rigel Station was gone, along with every defending vessel. The Devourer fleet had suffered no losses and showed no signs of damage. Their weapons had simply deleted their targets from existence, not destroyed, not disintegrated, but edited out of reality as if they had never been. The Confederation's greatest military minds studied the sensor data in horrified confusion. Admiral Thexnell, the same officer who had first encountered humanity, submitted his analysis to the emergency session of the Council. The enemy possesses technology so advanced that we cannot even comprehend its basic operating principles. They are to us what we believed ourselves to be to the humans, utterly superior beings playing with forces beyond our understanding. Over the following months, the Devourers carved through the galaxy's outer sectors like a cosmic plague. Every weapon used against them proved useless. Dimensional fold torpedoes passed through their ships without effect. Quantum disruptors had no impact on their dark matter hulls. Gravitational weapons that could collapse stars were simply absorbed and redirected back at their origins. The great civilizations began to fall. The Hegemony Prime lost 17 core worlds in a single engagement. The Zentorian Republic's capital system was consumed entirely. Star, planets, and 8 billion souls converted to raw energy to fuel the Devourer advance. The ethereal consciousness of Andromeda. Beings of pure thought who had transcended physical existence eons ago were somehow pulled back into corporal form and devoured like any other species. Panic spread through the galaxy faster than the Devour fleets. Refugee ships clogged the hyperspace lanes as entire civilizations abandoned their homeworlds. The Confederation Council met in continuous emergency session, but their debates were exercises in futility. Every proposed strategy relied on technology the Devourers had already proven immune to. It was during one of these sessions that Dr. Rodriguez requested permission to address the assembly. Chancellor Moradeth, his usual condescension replaced by desperate hope, granted the request immediately. "Honored Representative," Dr. Rodriguez began, "humanity would like to volunteer for the war effort." The reaction was immediate and explosive. The draconian ambassador's scale shifted to colors that roughly translated as insulting laughter. The crystalline Hivemind's representative chimed in harmonics expressing supreme disdain. Even the normally diplomatic Centauri delegation exchanged what passed for shocked glances among their kind. "With respect, Ambassador," Chancellor Mordeth said carefully, "humanity possesses neither the technology nor the military capacity to effect this conflict. Your ships barely function under normal circumstances. Against the Devourers, they'll be destroyed instantly," finished the hegemony representative, "just as every other vessel has been destroyed. What could your primitive weapons possibly accomplish that our advanced systems cannot?" Dr. Rodriguez maintained her composure in the face of what was obviously dismissal rather than discussion. "You're right that our weapons are primitive by your standards, but they work on principles that Devourers might not have encountered. Kinetic projectiles and chemical explosives." The Zentorian representative's bioluminescent spots pulsed in what their species used to express barely contained mirth. "The Devourers manipulate space-time itself. Physical weapons are meaningless." "Maybe," Dr. Rodriguez acknowledged,